Again, now what's passing away, you had somewhat of a covenant that we see with Noah. We could even point to an Adamic covenant, a Noahic covenant, an Abrahamic covenant, a Davidic covenant. You could point to different covenants along the way. Each one, the previous one, passed away to now be replaced by the next one. But they're always inclusive of the previous one. There's never a doing away with the previous one's information, requirements, and understanding. There's things that are built on top of, clarifications, more details, things like that, okay? This is why you have, like in Jeremiah 31, in verse 31, it says that there would be a renewed covenant between Yahweh and the house of Israel, not like the old one, but a new one that would be written on their hearts. But it would not be removing and doing away with everything in the previous one. I don't know if I should applaud this or not, but there was one Christian ministry I saw one time was doing a teaching on the 10 Commandments, and I will give him credit for at least getting this much. When he got to Commandment 4, he didn't teach Saturday, so I'm not giving him credit for that. He taught Sunday, but he said we should be keeping it all day. Okay, some light bulb went off a little bit. Don't tell me you're keeping Sunday as the Sabbath if you're not keeping it as a Sabbath. Okay, you can't do a Sabbath for an hour. The Sabbath is a day. It's the name of the seventh day. We call it Shabbat. Matter of fact, in a lot of languages, Saturday in their language is actually a version of the word Shabbat, right? Sábado, right? In Spanish, it's Shabbat or Sabbath. So it's the name of the day. It's what the day is. And so when he's talking about the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life, a lot of people sort of kept the letter, still ended up dead in the desert. Lots of people over time, were basically saying, well, I kept the letter of all these things, but you were missing the point of them. What is the point of them? What is the point of Torah keeping? Transformation, okay? Becoming like him is what she was saying, okay? It's transformative. So if you're not looking at it and you're not transforming, looking at it from that right perspective, it's just mechanical. Now, what also the Torah does is when he says the letter kills, the letter tells you what kills you. The Spirit tells you what brings life. So it's not that the Torah kills you. The Torah says, if you don't do these things, they bring death. The Spirit says, if you do these things the right way with the right intention, it brings life. There's no verse that says that thou shalt not be angry. It's not a commandment. But Yeshua says it's built into a commandment because Yeshua wants to deal with the Spirit above the letter or beyond the letter, which is what is the underlying causality of the action, the underlying cause of the action. Murder doesn't come out of joy and happiness. It doesn't come out of love and peace or any other piece of the fruit of the Spirit, okay, or part of the fruit of the Spirit. But it does come out of anger, bitterness, resentment, and all these other ugly emotional places. And so he wants you to deal with the underlying part of it, which is the spirit of it, the higher level of it, above and beyond the mechanics of it. The esteem of his face, which was passing away, right? So this idea of the things written on stones, which were passing away. And what he's trying to say is, again, there's now a shifting to the next covenant. So by passing away, it doesn't mean it's done away. We're now moving on to the next level. So think of it as stepping up. The Noahic covenant only mentions a very small handful of things. That doesn't mean there was not an awareness of other Torah issues, because we could see evidence of other Torah being known in those days. Like when he puts clean and unclean animals differently on the ark, he clearly knew about them, even though those aren't mentioned specifically in the Noahic covenant. But the point being, that covenant was then built up onto the next level. It passed away. We no longer are under the Noahic covenant. It's passed away. But everything in it is in the next covenant plus more. And then we get the Abrahamic. Everything's included plus more. So when he says it's passing away, because we're now moving on or up to the next level. But now, when you get to be an adult, do you just ignore everything you learned as a child? Like you learned, don't touch the stove, it's hot. Don't touch fire, it'll burn you. Do you just forget about that because it was a thing you were told as a kid? Don't run in the street. So now you just run in the street? I'm just saying it's built hopefully to that next level without ignoring what you should have learned at the beginner level. You see this throughout life itself, where things don't necessarily just have a utility for a short time and then thrown away. They have a utility and then you build upon it. And that's what makes the growth. That's what makes the transformation. So what Paul's saying is, okay, Just like Yeshua tried to tell them, I'm here to give you the next level built upon the previous level. And he's not saying that Old Testament was terrible. He said it was esteemed. It was esteemed. So how even more so should this next higher level be esteemed? So the letter kills. The letter leads to death. But if we understand we exist to transform into him, the spirit of it leads to life. Is that a good analogy? Does that make sense? So take that picture again. Use us as an example of letter versus spirit. Your existence is the letter of it. You were created, you exist. And you function, somewhat dysfunctionally or functionally, whatever, but you function. And you can make decisions and walk around, and you can talk to people or not. You can interact with people or not. You can kill people or not. You can love people or not. You can eat, drink, whatever you want to do. You can do anything. That's the letter. You exist. Without any understanding of the intention of your existence, that's where you're going to be. What makes us different, wow, this is really good stuff. What makes us different is that we understand the spirit of why we exist. This is one of the things I teach about context is sometimes you may not know what somebody is saying, but you can probably get to that conclusion properly when you know what they can't be saying. So Paul cannot be disrespecting, denigrating in any way the Torah. He cannot. If he's doing that, take him, throw him out, tear him out of the book, okay? He can't be. So we have two choices, really. And I tell this to Christians all the time when they want to argue Paul's writings with me. Either he's saying what you guys claim, which makes him a heretic, you need to throw him out, or we're not understanding what he's saying because we know he can't be saying that, and we have to struggle to figure out what he is saying. Those are your only two choices. You can't have the third choice, which Christianity wants, is that he's the hero who reset everything. And look, he's not even one of the 12, okay? I'm not trying to insult Paul. He wasn't one of the 12. And as far as apostleship, he claims he's the least among apostles. But he's not one of the 12. He doesn't get a throne to sit on and judge one of the 12 tribes. Verse 12, having then such expectation, we use much boldness of speech. He's talking about himself now. I have this expectation that what I'm trying to share with you is above and beyond without eliminating what you already think you understand. I expect that this is what brings life. I am not insulting, although some of his language I think sounds a little strong, but he says, I'm not insulting the letter. I just need you guys who are so in love with it to understand it's not the whole message. Christianity has done away with that, so now they're missing that part of the message. And of course, Judaism doesn't want to listen to the New Testament. They don't want to get the other side of the message. So we got two incomplete groups of people, or people who have incomplete messages. I was going to say one has got it worse than the other, because in some ways, really, Christianity has it worse only because they have this idea of the spirit, but they don't have anything to attach it to, so they don't know what they're doing with it, okay? And the Jews are running around with the mechanics and miss the point of the mechanics. And those who are not are veiled. I call this the bubble. And when he pops your bubble, it's like pulling away or popping holes in that veil so that now you can start to see beyond the veil. The veil is the filter. So all you can see is whatever's projected on the veil. You don't see what's actually real behind the veil, but you're just seeing what's projected, is what's the world or Hasatan or whoever it is wanting you to see. You know what? It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, the projection of what the wizard was versus going behind the veil and seeing the real guy. And so we're seeing whatever the world and society and everybody else has tried to project on this screen, this veil, and that's all you can see. You can't receive and see beyond that. But he pokes holes in that veil so you can say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, there's more out there.